Welcome in, turn 53. We finished research in Thermology 7, climbing up. I might change this to construction, and I'll try to remember to look at research and explain why. We empowered ourselves in death because we had, 50 death gems, and we're going to have this Sage Priest make Skulls of Fire for us, right? The fire booster. And then, yeah, we got some more summons here, and we see a magic phase battle that did not involve us. So this Andromania magic phasing into Alm, and it's their Pretender, which we haven't seen yet. So this is pretty exciting. It's the DV of Strength, which rides this very cool tiger, right? Which can also have a bunch of gear. So they didn't put a crown slot on it, but it has Fear built in. Um, Girdle of Might, Brace of Protection, Gold Barding, and it's pretty kitted out. Has 3 magic attacks, ton of hit points, right? 144 base. Um, and then the DV also, has multiple arms, so it has a bunch of equipment here, and a Ring of Returning, a bunch of Astral Pearls. So yeah, what is it planning here? Solar Brilliance. And what does Ulm have? A lot of sacreds. Mostly sacreds. Probably the most we've seen from them, right? And so Solar Brilliance, it starts to shine with a brilliance that destroys the retina of all soldiers on the battlefield. So does this just tick every turn? I thought it was like a earthquake, which just happens once. But she takes damage and runs away, and the global goes away, right? But if we look here, like, they blind some Templars, so they blind some Sacreds. Maybe not a ton, but it is easy magic resist negates, right? But not nothing. So maybe useful. I'm not sure how many gems that cost total to do teleport, and I mean they start with what, 6 gems? So I think Astral Brilliance costs 3 gems to cast. But they got some blinds off, so maybe useful. Maybe could be used against other Doom stacks and eventually like make a difference, right? Seems pretty safe to do with the Ring of Returning, right? So that's fun. We found 2 air sites, thank goodness, in Grey Mountains. Enchant Windmill Canyon of Wild Winds. That's actually 3 air gems a turn. We got a bunch of battles here. Only a few are worth watching. And check this out. Proclamation from Famini. Stop trying to dom kill me, the king of the lost tribe. We're not trying to dom kill. Like, we preached in a couple places, like slow rolling, just because we could, but I doubt we'll dom kill Famini. Maybe eventually, but not anytime soon. They're just too kind of spread out for that. But still pretty funny. And so yeah, we march on the capital, right? We can take a look at our army. Got a bunch of mages here that we hope don't get gift from heaven. And they did not patrol, so it's just PD. We've got our golem there, and we change up our formation the next turn. So even if they, think they can gifts from heaven us or whatnot, they'll see something different. So yeah, I think we'll just jump straight there. Although we had a few events. In Grey Mountains, a curse has been put upon all living. Cattle die, their bellies bloated like the victims of famine. The fruits of birth are stillborn. Crops wither in the fields, leaving nothing but ash. People cannot tolerate to live in such a place, yeah, no kidding, and have immigrated in large numbers. Many have died prematurely. So death +3, 9,000 people left, and population goes down, and that's everybody. But we do get a death site. Hey, so this is the work of the Necromancer, right? Worldwide event. We haven't owned a province that the Necromancer has done this in yet, so we didn't see this message. And I thought they did have to advance with the whites into a province first, but they did attack here at one point. We held them off, right? So that's unfortunate because we have a fortress there, and it's not going to be fairly useless. But that Necromancer, man, ugh, we're gonna deal with him for sure. We found some more yellow mold, gross. And then one of our sage priests was wounded in a lab accident. And then yeah, the arena took place, and no one entered except Moan, the king of the lost tribe. So he received a champion's cuirass, 450 gold, and 17 sparkling fire gems. And we're gonna see yet another king of the lost tribe out in the wild. So they're getting these now. and probably have that in the capital in the profit, or in the profit in the capital. And yeah, with just our little force that we saw, we've started to destroy the fort in Famini, which is relevant to know because going there now, we had 212 siege strength with that army, and with everything we're bringing in next turn, we're gonna have 1,279. So 1,000 plus damage a turn. So we'll get this down in 2 turns unless they can ride out and kill a bunch of our stuff. And only half of that is Great Eagles. The other half is this Pale One army, right? So we're bringing in a ton of stuff. We changed up our formation. We're spread out. We've got bodyguards on every mage, right? We've got a bunch of communion. We've got Bird Knights and Grey Eagles who will get our battlefield-wide buffs and be much more tanky and killy, right? We've got the Golem here as Golem insurance, or just Giants even. Like, the Giants, we've got a lot of protection with the Iron Face, right? And still have plenty of shock resist if we face off against that. And then communion wise, like we're committing a lot of gems with nature. We're gonna get guys blessing up straight away. Just get universal resists, right? And then relief shortly after that. So by round 5, we'll have both those up, and then get some regen and more poison resist in case they try to foul vapors in a communion. Who knows? Into our communion at least, and then we've got our astral guy who's gonna time stop, so that'll be fun, and then get off Will the Fates, Anti Magic, and Doom. So basically all the good astral battlefield wide spells, right? And then our Earth guy here is going to get Army of Bronze right away, give us a bunch of natural protection and strength, right? Should be helpful, and Legion of Steel. So we'll be very safe against, I think, both Giants and their Knights for the most part, even our lightly armored troops. Great Eagles, they already have some natural protection, so they're not going to get as much of a buff from Iron Skin, but still better than nothing. And then somebody... Oh yeah, we have a fire guy to do fire fend, right? So more fire resistance. And we have a water guy to do frost flesh army for more fire resistance. We should have plus 15 fire resist, plus Will the Fates, right? Be pretty protected against falling fires and even gifts from heaven. At least once, right? And then this guy's just gonna do Power of the Spheres and Enslave Mind. We have 20 slaves in this battle, so we're gonna have +4 magic paths, and we'll just distribute the fatigue a ton and plus relief. We've got a couple Prester Kings as well. I'm going to have one become Communion Master and do Divine Channeling to boost up our popes. I don't know if them having 4 instead of 3 is going to matter, but we're going to do it anyways, and then have them advance and cast. And yeah, I don't think they'll ride out to meet us. They might once we totally siege down the fort, but that should be pretty fun. And then otherwise, they just raided in a ton of places, right? With 1 sorceress, 15 knights, and that's the story, right? And so we're gonna block them off here from continuing, and we don't mind if they just sit on Exobethia. It's got a ton of wall integrity, and now that we're threatening the capital in a very, very real way, like, yeah, you come sit over here if you want. They could try to raid this way, and we'll block them as needed. If they take back some of their land, it'll be easy for us to get once we, destroy their main fighting force and whatnot. So that's the plan with Famini. They did march out with just 1 King of the Lost Tribe here and no Astral Mage, so we're going to try to mine hunt that. And then I did get a Golem to come take out the Necromancer because I'm sick of it. And it's probably too late at this point, right? Like, there's 0 population or 30 population here, 0 income. They suck the life out of Rivia, but they could suck the life out of the water provinces potentially. So we don't want to lose those 2, and the column should be fine. We gave them a fire shield with the charcoal shield here and the firebrand, and has, I think, enough cold resistance against the chill aura, plenty of protection. Like, we should HP route the Necromancer because it does not have 30 morale, as we saw when we scouted. So that's the plan there. We're still gonna have a Golem in reserve that we're we're patrolling with this turn in case they march on for some reason, but we'll have them available to magic phase. And Victoria here still has 3 wounds, and most importantly, this dementia, episodes of inactivity in combat. So we're gonna wait for her to get healed up, at least the dementia and the chest wound, so she can be an effective combat caster again. And if we do get her back in time, I'm hoping that she can come into the Femini siege and cast flight on everybody and just bypass the walls. I think that would be really fun. So that's basically all of our stuff. And then globally, yeah, we saw a ton of battles, but only a few are worth watching. So let's see. Yeah, we'll watch here. So Jomon attacked into Andromania with 6 Ryujins, so even more than we've seen. They're all geared up, and it's a pretty big army from Andromania. So Storm goes up. I guess those insects could fly in Storm, or they got off just in time, but the Manticores, they're not going to fly in. And so they're set up pretty far back, which was smart to defend against crossbow bolts, of course. Because, you know, they did not magic phase in here, because only the air mages could have done that, right? But the Sleegriffs make contact straight away. Howl gets off. Wrathful Skies is going. Here they come. So it's like getting surrounded. These guys aren't invulnerable. One runs. Ooh. We'll speed it up again here. Take a minute. It looks like one Ryujin died. Let's see. One retreated, and yeah, one did die, so it turned into its other form and got killed pretty quickly without its gear, I suppose. And yeah, look at how geared up they are. So they have 2 winged helmets, which are not cheap, right? For air gems. Like, we'd love to have that many air gems to throw around. And okay, there, Andromania does rout. And it looks like Jomon was about to rout themselves. Like, this one stuck around. Oh no, yeah, he's routed. He's just tired. So, did he die? I think he flew away. Let's see. Yeah, they just lose 1 unless one dies on the retreat, which actually, oh, they do die. Okay. Right. Yes, interesting. Okay. Excuse me. So, in the Discord, the Andromania player does come in and talk about how 6 Ryujins died. So that makes sense. I thought there was maybe another battle with 6 of them, which would have been kind of nuts. Excuse me. So they're a little salty about the war, I think, in general, because, you know, if we remember, they were saying they were being strong-armed into dispelling their own arcane nexus, but that never happened, right? Because obviously Ulm and Jomon are still attacking them. But because they tried to all fly away, or they didn't take the province in the end, like if we watch that battle playback again, or because it's Ulm's province, I'm not sure what happened there. Did Jomon try to attack another province and failed, and they had nowhere to retreat to? But so they do lose all those Ryujins, a ton of gear. I mean, I don't know if we want to do the math there, but that's a lot of gems and items, let alone the cost of the mages themselves. We know they have discount to craft things, but I mean, that's got to be 200 plus gems total, right? Even at discount. Maybe less. I don't know. You at home can do the math if you really want to. But regardless, you know, they kill a ton of stuff from Andromania, and we just saw them lose a ton of stuff from that Ulm crossbow battle, right? So 16 more Magi, another Senator, the Lamia Queen there, 4 of these Magi, a ton of Senatorial Guards and Sacreds, you know, gem troops. So, and they've got 2 huge armies from Ulm that we can see still breathing down their necks. So it's gonna be very interesting to see what happens, because we also see that Arcocephali is attacking Ulm, so thank goodness. God bless, or Victoria bless Arcocephali for doing this. So they're attacking, and they're sieging multiple forts already that we did not have the luxury of seeing. We see a golem battle here that they probably teleported in, right? And is dual wielding Frostbrands pretty fun. Has their own chainmail of displacement, right? Chains of reconstruction, up to their attack value there, which some dubious value maybe. Boots of the Messenger, right? We use that as well. Just a generic helmet there. So I guess did not magic phase in, right? Doesn't have 3 astral. Just moved. They have a golem sieging down here where the throne is, and then an unknown force here, which could be their pretender, and then we see an army. Which we haven't really seen a regular army of Arcocephali, so a bunch of these heart companions, they're sacreds, right? But they're blessings, not anything exciting. It's more for mages. And they have a little communion here that they set up, and it's just into some PD. So cool to see their army in action. They actually do a good amount of Skelly spam after they go off script here, I think, yeah. So we're bringing in a lot of scouts to see what's going on. But with Ulm's attention divided, Antrimania might not go down as quickly. But if Jomon continues to press, like, it's gonna be interesting. But we're free to 1v1 for now, and maybe just attack Atlantis at our leisure, right? If we want to. So if we can win the war with Femini, we'll really want to start planning our throne rush strategy from there while people are still hopefully busy fighting other wars. So yeah, I think that's the turn. I hope you guys join me next time. Imagine that. Welcome back. Turn 54. So Jomon with this Ryujin here is claiming the throne of the sun. So I guess that's a prophet, right? And it gives what? Order, heat scale, fire resist, some fire gems, and I think another scale as well. Order maybe. And yeah, we got some summons here. We cast Mind Hunt and successful. So I think this was a spy, but we cast it again, and this was the giant. So it was not their prophet, but they named this giant as well. Stop trying to dom kill me. So yeah, I think the rest of their giants are now just stuck in the capital, but they probably shouldn't have left them alone. Okay, lots of battles again. And look at all these magic phase battles. Again, not involving us, but some good stuff. So it's mostly Arcocephali, and we can take a peek here at a couple. Golem, right? And pretty good. That has a Wraith Sword with the life drain. Dancing Shield, very, very good. Burning Pearl again, so he can hit, has the actual chance to hit things, and very good damage, of course. Good MR, the whole deal. And man, nothing here, but not much. And I can imagine how this goes, right? Golems are slow, so it takes a minute. And looks like keeps getting hit because the regen's popping off, but he's got a lot of hit points. And yeah, eventually he does kill everything. Well, most everything. And then here, what do we have? We have their pretender. So she also magic phased in with the air magic there. And I think mostly the same setup we've seen. She also has the Shocking Grass Shield, which we've seen can be very effective. So resistances wise, has 15 shock, 5 fire, 5 cold, 10 poison. We'll see what her buff script is. Earth Power, Iron Skin, Strength of Gaia, Enlarge. So still has some weaknesses in terms of resist, but a ton of hit points and 20% regen, 31 protection. It's be a pretty tough nut to crack. 21 MR. And yeah, what does Ulm have? Well, a lot more. A lot more. So a ton of their sacreds, right? Which they they can regen a tiny bit, has Undying, Blood Surge, etc. So that's not gonna tick off with just this one unit here, and then she gets off Wrathful Skies. So that was her last spell, and almost got like, you know, surrounded before she could cast it, or she does have Combat Caster, I suppose. So it was pretty likely to go off. And no lightning resist to speak of. So Arcocephali sweeping in and turning the tide of this war for Andromania and all, right? And pretty good news for us, because almost more likely to attack us than Arcocephali, but that could change. And yeah, pretty effective. It's not going to kill everything, but kills a ton. So looks like almost all the commanders, one Hawkmeister gets away, 65 of the Sacreds, and most of the other troops. So very effective there. And then 2 more Magic Phase battles from Arco. This one's just some ghouls, and then another Golem here, and a big army this time. And it wins, right? So huge turn. I mean, this was that army that just annihilated Andromania's mages, right, with their crossbows, but I don't think the crossbows are going to do much against a golem. I mean, there's a ton of them, but this one has an Iron Face, so we've seen this story, and Treacle Shield, right, Shadow Brand, pretty fun, Leeching Darkness, right, and yeah, so 31 protection and the Pierce Resist, like those crossbows, it's not going to happen. We're not even seeing, there's a couple damage ticks. And then, yeah. I've never actually crafted this sword. Death, Earth Magic, Crosspath, right? But it seems pretty good. Seems pretty good. Has a great area effect, 5. So, all not prepared for this, and they might not be able to counter it. They might not have an answer. We know they have blood magic, right? So they could be summoning things in that can counter golems or their pretender, but if not, they're just gonna lose all their troops and their big armies. So I don't think we need to watch the whole thing, but yeah, that's a lot of troops down. They don't lose everything, right? But still, they can just magic phase again and again and again. You know, once they get back into labs. So, and then there's another remote attack spell there in the Warrior Illusions. They win against Andromania, and then Andromania comes in with their god again, and this time does not have a Ring of Returning, has a Horror Helmet, so different setup, and just a small force from Ulm. But they wanted to kill it, right? So I'm assuming they coordinated about where to magic phase attack with Arcocephali, because this, you know, it could have been dangerous to do on either end for those folks. But yeah, so she casts Invulnerability, Soul Vortex, so pretty scary pretender with the death magic there. Has, you know, Invulnerability, like, for example, if we face this, we'd want to hit it with Baculites, right? If they didn't route, I mean, Soul Voltex is pretty scary, but we could probably put her to sleep. We're not going to care about Ethereal either, right? If we got some buffs up to counteract some of this nasty stuff. It's possible, but pretty scary, and I don't know, at least for now, like, they've lost to every magic phase battle, so that's pretty exciting. And we found a single magic site, Well of Whitewater, a water gem, big deal. We're still looking for air gems. We're finally getting Windmasters every turn, right? So that's exciting. And in Femini, there was a battle. So I did not bury the lead, nothing exciting. They ping with this little dinky mage, so I guess they didn't have a scout available. Or maybe they thought we would march off. Because he's not just running, he's casting spells. Personal Iron Skin, and then we enslave him. And when you slay them, they lose their magic pass, right? So he just becomes a troop, a non-commander. Uh, and what else happened? Oh yeah, the Necromancer battle. So we come in with our Golem, right? We've got the Iron Face, the Truckle Shield, the Firebrand, and this is a lot of undead. And straight away he uses his gems, or doesn't even use the gems, just to cast Horde of Skeletons, right? So one water elemental, and we get surrounded pretty fast. And I mean, the whites, they could hurt us, but it's unlikely. Our fatigue is not perfect, but it seems fine. And this battle also takes a while, but well, spoiler, we pull it off. We take a couple hits of damage, like we're healed up, but we did get a limp, which is unfortunate. And I think it was just like on a little tiny dinky hit. Yeah, 2 points of damage. We got a permanent limp, so that's unfortunate. Because we cannot heal that, right? Since this is an inanimate object or creature. So, long story short, we get the HP route eventually on the mage because it does not have undead morale, right? And Femini, they raid some more, and we put some defenders and some sages, and they win this fight. We didn't have the firepower to actually kill the knights, right? With our defenders, and just one sage priest. But that's fine. And I think we'll just look at the map. I don't think there were any regular battles worth watching. Let's just go through the list here real quick. So we lose that fight. August Fly also has a spectral mage, which takes a province from Ulm. Femini raids again there, and some more raiding from folks, including Atlantis. They finally do some raiding of their own. Oh, this was just some PD, but Arcus Fly has some fun units here. So they have a Flame Spirit, right? And then this, I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce that, but pretty scary unit, right? Not a commander, but has a bunch of resistances. So pretty hard to take down. You'd want to shatter this if you could, right? Because it's inanimate. Has a couple attacks, fiery breath, and good protection, 50 morale. They even have some elephants back here. So that's pretty fun. This worm mage back here, right? Which I've never summoned in. Swarm body. When it's slain, turns into a myriad of bugs. So it can reform its body and continue to fight. I'm not sure how that works. It has this disease explosion on death, immortality for 3 months, right? So pretty cool unit. I'm not sure what it takes to summon this guy in. Has a couple items there. So Orc's Folly, they're doing quite well. Doing quite well. So where was that? So many battles, so many battles. Oh yeah, and then Jomon attacks us where we had overextended on Femini. So when we look at the map, we'll take a look there. So in Griffin Spires, we have a local sect flourishing, and then we lose some tax income in Pythium, and in Own we have some more yellow mold. Gross. Some worldwide events here. The Bringer of Misery has been summoned into the world, and its wake disease is spreading. So we have 57 units affected by disease. I assume that's our units, and it's not saying worldwide. So that's probably Ulm, right? They're the Blood Nation in the game that brought this in. And since the Throne of the Sun has been claimed, everyone gets Order +1, so okay, that's fine. And then the Necromancer's defeated. You're welcome, everybody. We lose a scout. The walls are severely damaged at Femini, right? And that's pretty much it. So yeah, Jomon attacks way out here. And at this point, there's no diplomacy to be had, right? Like, they're doing one of two things. They're just kind of seeing what they can get away with, right? Because, yeah, we can't defend these. I mean, we could. But we're not going to for the moment. So they could just be prodding or not planning to attack us, but just, taking this free territory, essentially. They do have troops on our borders, and so we're still expecting attack any second. But my current plan is to attack Jomon right before they complete this palisades on the throne, whether they attack us before then or not. So they took this throne province on turn 51, so they would have started the fort on turn 52 at the earliest, right? So it's been two more turns. We have a couple turns before it'll go up, and we can mind hunt a bunch of things before we go in there if there's just Ryujins there and whatnot. And then yeah, in Famini, like we'll break the walls next turn, and Virtue's still not ready, unfortunately. She lost the dementia, but still has the limp. Or we don't really care about the limp, but the chest wound, right, for her encumbrance. But we'll want to ping with the scout once we destroy the walls because we have no idea what's in there. We don't know what their pretender is. Like we just have no clue. So we don't want to go in before knowing. And so next turn, hopefully we'll heal up that last affliction and we'll bring in virtue and whatever else we want and be ready to storm the next turn. So that's pretty much it actually. So this is where they raided and we want to cut them off. And if we just look, I didn't even look the last turn, right? We didn't show these little tiny raids, but they've got this one lone mage just way in the back, and they're not even putting the holding attack, and they have him on forward placement. So I don't know if they forgot that we have bird knights and great eagles and stuff, but we're gonna patrol in all three of the locations they could come through, with 10 great eagles just immediately attack rear, so they won't even get, they might get one buff off, right? And then with this one that they attacked with, it's the same story. I don't want them to get into the vast province, and then they could go to so many places after that. So I'm actually gonna magic phase in with the golem, which is a little silly, but we'll kill it. And if Jomon does happen to attack next turn into marshlands, you know, we'll kill that army too, hopefully. And I'm getting one more golem this turn, and so we'll have four total. Just because I want to make sure we have at least one that can magic phase at any given moment. Because with this guy, I still want to take these necromancer provinces and maybe even get underwater here again. So yeah, I think that's pretty much the turn. The war is, it's looking dicey all of a sudden for Ulm, right? We have our spy here, so we're gonna try to infiltrate. Got hormarked somehow. I'm not sure when that happened. I didn't see that. There's probably a remote spell cast on Ulm this turn when we moved in there, so that's too bad. So I might want to, yeah, let's actually get another scout in there and swap the item. That's probably pretty smart. But yeah, so check this out. Arcocephalia has 3 of Ulm's forts now sieged, and they're right next to the capital. uh, and Andromania's storming here is, or sieging here as well, which we missed that battle. We'll bring in a scout. And it'll be interesting to see if Jomon continues to push this way or if they turn their attention towards us now that Andromania is maybe not so looking so wounded. And yeah, Atlantis is now storming this fort from Famini, which is totally fine, right? We'll attack them when we want to. And yeah, I hope you join me. Imagine that.